going on, everybody? I'm so glad you had a chance to join us today. With me today, I have my brother from a Filipino mother, Sergeant Mercado. Dude, brother, it is so great to have you on here, man.
Thanks,
I haven't
man.
seen that face in a long time, especially now that there's hair on it. I mean, you and I first met each other in 194 Field Artillery, what, 2010-ish?
2009.
Yeah, it's a 9-ish, 10-ish, yeah. Dude, it's crazy to see how long it's been.
Yeah. Well, anything that happens in 2000 just seems like it was yesterday. You know what I mean?
Crazy. I just made a post on my Facebook last night. There's a picture of me. I'm still in ACUs, but I'm holding my 4-month-old son, and I was getting ready to leave for my second deployment to go to Baghdad. It's like, here he is now. He's 17, going into his senior year, and I'm just like, holy cow! Like, where'd all the time go?
I know, right? And I started late. I got a 6-year-old and I got a newborn as of January 31st. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. You have a beautiful family.
Trying to, yeah, thanks. I'm learning how to be a new dad again, and it's fun.
Dude, I'm right there with you because I've got a 17, 12, and then 5 and 4. So like there was that big gap where my wife and I are like, oh, the kids are older now, things are easier. And then boom to boom, back-to-back pregnancies. So it's like having to rip off the Band-Aid all over again.
Right.
It's obviously been a long time since you and I had a chance to, to really kind of, talk. The last time I saw you was, recruiting. You ended up going a little bit ahead of me on recruiting, and then I followed not far behind you.
Yeah.
But
where did you go for your first assignment?
I wound up in 6 India 1 Sierra. I was a part of Sacramento Recruiting Battalion, but I was as far north as you could get. I was in the Reading Recruiting Company, but my center was Medford, Oregon. So I was easily 6 hours away from MEPS.
Bennett was your station commander.
Yes. Yep, Kelly Bennett. Yeah, man. He was Sergeant First Class when I got there.
He sees this video.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna tag him. It's funny, he's actually still here in the area. He is working.
Yeah. He works for Wells Fargo somewhere.
Yeah. He's I just ran into him there at a Wells Fargo in Federal Way.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He was my first sergeant in Hawaii, the whole time, and then we parted ways. I went back to LA, and then I think he went to Seattle, right? And then he retired out of there.
Yeah, I don't know why he stayed locally here. He's not from here, but it's good to have him here. I know that you went to high school here. You're over there on the KidSTAP side of things, right?
I did. Yep, I went to high school in Silverdale, Washington, class of 2000. Central KidSTAP High School.
Is that Central KidSTAP?
Fortunately, the original structure is no longer there. Yeah, the original structure, they rebuilt it. Looks nice. Looks like a hospital, but it's the same high school that my father graduated from, my aunt, my brother, my uncle. So we have a strong family organic ties to that school.
Yeah, was that Central? Is that Central KidSTAP?
Central KidSTAP, yeah. Cougars.
My wife's over here looking at me because she went to school in Klahowya, over there in Seaback.
Oh yeah. The Eagles, right?
The Eagles.
That school was like brand spanking new back then in 2000. I think that school was only barely a year, 2 years old back in 2000. Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy, man.
It's a good school.
Well, I mean, you're obviously doing well for yourself. I know that you've had a lot of, you had a lot of successes in the military, and even beyond that. Like, what have you been doing? Like, what all have you tried to capitalize on?
Now or prior to getting to where I am now?
Well, I mean, I know that you actually didn't you reclass? You left the field artillery world and became a 79 Romeo. So you finished out your career there as a recruiter.
Okay. I did. Well, the thing is not gonna say that my time as a 13 Mike was bad, but I knew that that's not something I wanted to do for 20 years. I definitely wanted to make the Army as a whole a career. I wanted to do 20 just like my father did and just like my grandfather did. He was a GS-13 for 30 years. So I knew what the result of doing that much time, the end state result of success would be. So I wanted to do my time. It's like the family business in a sense, right? So, but I just felt that I could do more with what was going on in here. So, when the opportunity came upon me to, I mean, I was selected, and most soldiers who get selected to go to recruiting, they feel like it's a death sentence. For me, I found it as a very, very fortunate opportunity to try something new and do something that I passionately like doing, which is not in essence recruiting, but interacting and being with people and working on what I'm actually very good at, which is business and networking and working on my interpersonal skills and just being out there. And unfortunately, you can't do that in my primary MOS. Unfortunately, you're not there to be creative. So I felt that doing that was a good avenue for me and to try it out. So, and I was very strategical in particular where I wanted to go as far as my first assignment. And when it comes to recruiting, I'll just straight up say this: they put you where you visually will fit. And that's just the way it is. So my first assignment was Southern California in Orange County, in Westminster, the highest volume of Vietnamese Americans in the United States.
You're like, I'm not Vietnamese.
So I look Vietnamese. I mixed well with the Vietnamese community. I was accepted very well. But when someone down Moran Street on the Vietnamese Mall would say something, I'm like, sorry, I'm not Vietnamese. And sometimes they look at me like, well, what are you doing living here?
Dude, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had
it was yeah.
Yeah, I had a soldier that I put in from down in Mount Shasta, California. He's not Hispanic at all, but he looks Hispanic. We didn't even believe him, but he had his 23andMe genetics test. He says he gets it all the time. People will look at him and start speaking Spanish at him, and he just looks at them like,
right.
I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah. And I actually had been trying to apply to try something outside the MOS for so long. I was trying to get my degree to go to officer candidate school. I was and at the time the age requirement had shifted to I think 28, 29. So at that time they weren't taking someone who was 30 to go to OCS at the time. No waivers at the time. And I even applied to be a warrant officer. And at the time, the requirements were different. The Army changes all the time. I was a young staff sergeant. I made staff sergeant in 4 years. And last time I checked, the requirements didn't mean that I had to have X amount of time. I applied when I was in Korea, and the warrant officer 5 was like, well, you need to have a little bit more time because I want you to be competitive to be selected. Well, I was like, well, I still meet the requirements. It doesn't say anything about that. So, I took my rejections and I kept trying and trying and trying. And just so behold, I even tried to apply for, what's that MOS, CID agent. Okay. Got rejected from that because I just did not have enough time. So I got promoted pretty fast, but trying to apply something outside the realms of a 13 mic, it was just going too fast, had its cons. So getting deselected recruiting was kind of in the books for me. And I just did extremely well. I was just very passionate in the craft and honestly changing the lives of young men and women in my community, especially the Philippine community, because it's very, at the time, extremely rare to find a Philippine-born boy from the Philippines like me in the Army. Because predominantly, a lot of Filipinos join the Navy or the Air Force, even some in the Marine Corps. It's just that's our history. Because back in World War II, the Navy was the thing, hence my father. So it wasn't a very familiar popular branch for the Philippine community. So when they saw that, it was kind of like an inspiration for many. And I still keep in touch with a lot of the Filipino soldiers that I have put in, and seeing them through social media and the friendships that we still maintain. You know, they have families now, they have homes, and some are even stationed in Fort Lewis still, and we still talk. I mean, we're friends, and it's just very inspiring, and I'm just so happy that I had, you know, a small contribution to that. And they're U.S. citizens now. It's great, man. It's the things I did for them, and I would do it for free. You know, I would do it for free, and
absolutely.
And even to this day, I still continue to give them guidance and mentorship because, you know, even though I'm already out and retired, they want to be in my shoes one day. It's like, okay, you helped me get in. Please give me guidance when I get out. So I'm still there for them in a sense.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I fell in love with the craft. I told my sergeant major, I want to convert. Like this is for me. And there really was no hesitation in my conversion because my command sergeant major happened to be a 13 Mike as well.
So, there you go.
Murrell was his name. So like literally I was converted to Man Romeo overnight. And then, you know, in user rec, production is power. And he literally asked me the next day, where do you want to go? I said, well, I want to give my wife a chance to be stationed in a place that is her hometown. So we got Hawaii, and we're in Hawaii for 3 years. I was the only station commander that made mission 3 years consecutively in the history of that station. 6 Hotel 5 Bravo.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, production is power. I got what I wanted. And I was stuck with a decision of, you know, it's my last 4 years. I knew I wanted to retire. I didn't care what rank I was going to be. You know, I'm a producer. Okay. I like being in the field. I like working with people because I knew if I made 8 and 9, I would be completely disconnected from the community. I'd have to, you know, Army controls where you go when you make 8, 9. Okay. So yeah. I said, take me back to the West Coast because I want to continue what I was doing, what I know I'm going to do when I get out, continue my network in California because it's where the money is, man. This is where the business is. So at the time, the brigade sergeant major and the brigade colonel flew to Hawaii in my little island just to have a conversation with me. I said, so here's your decision. Okay. It's going to make or break. What do you want to do? I said, take me back to California.
That's awesome.
Back to LA, did my time. Here I am now. A year out, prior to my retirement, I set up vetted.
So that's actually a lot of what I wanted to talk about. I see you post about it all the time.
Sure.
You definitely got a lot of passion to it. You've talked about your love for business, your love for helping people. Mm-hmm. You know, you definitely revere your Filipino heritage and your roots, and you're all about community. So kind of talk me through your company Vetted. Like, how did it begin? How did you come up with the name? Yeah. Like, what is it that you actually do? I want to know all about that.
Okay. Well, the idea literally started on a piece of paper. It actually happened when I went to SFL-TAP. Okay, SFL-TAP is that requirement 1 week where they go over your benefits and explain what it's like when you transition out of the military. And I want to say that recruiters, San Romeos, we should have the best or easiest transition out because we have been working in the civilian world this whole time. So most of the material, most of the instruction was not foreign to me. Like how to interview, how to write a resume, all that. Like, honestly, I was kind of like, okay, I'm here because I have to be here. So I was kind of more or less helping my peers that were in there, my line personnel. I kind of did. I there was a chaplain I was helping. He was a colonel. There was 2 command sergeant majors I was helping. How to interview, how to talk. You know, it's crazy. It doesn't even matter what their degrees were, how high ranking. We're all the same in that room. You know, and I never at one point felt I was better than anyone else in there, but I had a lot to tell them what was going on the outside, and they were just like shocked. You know, I kind of put the instructor in his place too, because you cannot grasp what's about to happen to these guys in a week, you know, and plus the resume writing was just kind of subpar. So in that week, you know, I still had about 18 months before I was actually out. That's when everything kind of clicked. I saw what was deficient there and I was like, this is my calling right here. if I can help change and fix what's going on here in some little way, because I mean, sorry, baby's crying. I have peers that need this help, and some don't even get this week to assist. So I looked at the deficiencies, resume writing. Okay. So I know how to write a resume. I'm going to learn how to do that. The portion about getting a SGLI, okay, read about that. Not worth it to me. So I went into finance. I went into life insurance and explained that, yeah, the SGLI is great, but there's other methods, because when you're in the military, you're told this is what works. This is what works. You're not told anything else. But you're going to be going into a different world. And honestly, a lot of the benefits that are given to you after the military, yeah, they work for it doesn't work for everybody. So there has to be other ways, other methods. And there was no specialist to explain that. The instructor would be like, all right, here's SGLI. Here's one way to write a resume. But there are other ways, but they didn't have a specialist for the other ones. So I was like, what? You told us option A, but what about BCD? Oh, we don't have a specialist for that. Do you plan on having it? So no. So that's what clicked. And then, so there was one class though that I valued the most, which was the Boots to Business, because I'm very business minded. All right. I'm actually attending Azusa Pacific University right now. I'm in business school, MBA. My major is entrepreneurship, and my minor is in web marketing. I just needed to know, all right, because I've always been business minded, just to how to platform an e-commerce business, because I'm very big on working remotely because of the benefits of working remotely. Okay. Working remotely, there's so many tax write-offs. Okay. When working from home. All right. Of course, that's another class. And there's so much more that can be accomplished working from home. And working from home, COVID was a blessing and a curse. And when you work from home, actually, you can accomplish so much more and communicate with so much more people. Okay. So, and you can really bring your brand, your message out there. So after that week, I got that piece of paper that I wrote. And I said, you know what? When anybody serves in the military, everybody wants to feel, every person that serves has something to prove. That way, when they come out and want to work in the civilian sector or get a job, they want to feel that they want to be given a chance.
Yeah.
I my peers that were retiring with me, they mean war heroes, okay? Hold prestigious positions in the military, but now that they're out, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So I thought of that word. Everybody just wants to be vetted, okay? And so I wanted to make a company. I wanted to make a trademark, a label, that when you see that, that is like a badge of validation that you've done it. You did it. It's quality. That you can trust this label, that they're worth it. Give this a chance. You know what I mean? And then
I like it.
I also incorporated it and made it a clothing line so you can wear it. Because I'm a big guy on wearing like high-end fashion clothes, right? And I'm a big fan of like Gucci, Louis Vuitton.
You're bougie. It's like you're
two
bougie.
Clothing lines that I think are just ridiculous. What's that?
I said you're bougie.
I mean, sometimes. I'm a little bougie sometimes. I only wear it if someone buys it for me. Because it is expensive. But like the simple labels, like Balenciaga, Essentials, there's nothing special about that bloody font. But it's worth so much money because of who you put it on and the value that's added to it because of who you put it on. So I was like, why am I going to wear that? Even though I do have it, I'm going to make one myself and add value to it. So perhaps one day when someone wears this, it'll be worth something. And I do sell it and people buy it because they recognize the service that I give.
Yeah.
And this label incorporates a lot of what I do. I give service members, veterans, outstanding life insurance policies. I don't collect any commission from it. Okay?
Really?
'Cause I'm a broker. I'm an independent broker. I do resume writing service. Much better than what SFL-TAP does. I also do federal resumes. I also partnered with a person that works for USA Jobs who does federal resumes. We partner together. Okay. Did a lot of networking because when you're retiring, you get a free LinkedIn Premium account. When I started that, I made all these professional connections. Okay. And then when you're recognized as a business, it's just amazing how all of these people start to network with you. Okay. And then, as I was in school too, I set up my webpage. Okay. So now that my label was being recognized, my service was being recognized. And that's when I wanted to produce products because I'm very big on like having my name, having my art, having my symbol. I want people to have something a part of it. So I started doing engraving, like my little pens and bullet pens. That got really popular. Started making patches. Unique patches didn't exist, right? Yeah, cups. A lot of people like Stanley cups for some reason. I imported bamboo cups from Asia because from my roots and engraved that. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I produce comes from the Philippines or from Asia in general. And that's my motto. Made by a veteran, designed by an alliance. Because a lot of people have forgotten that the Philippines was a very strong alliance during World War II. And we still are.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of this flag as well. So.
That's awesome. I love it.
And I started my business, a year and a half ago. I put $20,000 into my e-commerce business. And I actually got all my money back 2 months ago. And now I'm positive revenue. So I'm doing pretty well. And on top of that, I also was founded by Leidos QTC. If you don't know who Leidos QTC is, the next time you go into an airport and you see the body scanners, so we're an AI tech health services company. We're responsible for a lot of defense contracts, and we're also responsible for doing the health services for the CMP exams for all veterans throughout the country. So I hire doctors in Central Zone to do the CMP exams to ensure that the veterans get their VA claims done. And so continue helping veterans right here.
I love it, man.
Behind my office.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it, man. You have an awesome story filled with just win after win after win. I mean, you got a beautiful family. You've got you're a college graduate. You're a business owner. Retired Army veteran. There's so much about you that just holds so much honor and value. And it's been a blessing knowing you as a person.
Thank you, man. Same to you. I'm so glad we've kept in touch all these years. And you gotta thank social media for that because social media is what's actually made me successful, professionally, financially, and just personally. It's great. I don't know what I would do without it.
Absolutely. Well, you know what?
It does have its evils, though. It does have its evils.
Well, I know that I'm not going to be the only person who's watching this. And I'm going to put this up on YouTube and put it on social media. Do you have anything that you want to add, or do you have any of your creations nearby your desk that you can show on camera? Besides the clothes that you're wearing, because I see you're wearing a vetted hoodie, you got a vetted hat on.
Yeah. Let me show you what I just made lately. Stand by. So this was request. It was hand drawn. And I used this on my very high grade laser machine. It's a retirement gift for somebody. I have yet to send it out, but it is a tiger holding a demon mask.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I don't know if he's probably going to drink tea or coffee out of this thing, but yeah, this is getting mailed out somewhere in Fort Meade. So
that's awesome.
Took about 3 hours to burn.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of intricacies and fine lines in there.
There's a lot of requests like, there's a lot of requests like, are you selling that? I'm like, no, someone already got it. But you know what? I do this for $30. I don't, whatever people want, it's what, this is going to somebody special who's retiring. So, hey, just send me what you want and I'll make it happen. Okay.
Yeah, that's
awesome. Just one of many things, I'm actually learning how to do 3D printing right now too, but I'm kind of intimidated to open that box to learn, but supposedly it's easy, but that's another I have a partner who's an actual lender like you. He wants to invent something that Costco could use on the daily. And I'll actually tell you about it. He wants to invent a device to where we have to make the molding to where, you know how when you go to Costco and you get the samples?
Yeah.
But you got no place to put it? It's going to make one of those, like a tray to put on the shopping cart. So you put all your samples on it instead of putting it in the seat. It's
oh, my Lord.
Like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I said, well, we got to like steal a shopping cart so I can make the molding. It's a genius idea. So, because some guy on TikTok made it and it got like 1 million views or something.
What?
He made it out of like a cardboard and a foam floating device that kids use to float in, a foam tube. He like cut a foam tube.
A pool noodle?
Yeah, so he cut a pool noodle, put a piece of cardboard, cut it, and that was it. And we just thought about it like, why don't we just make a legit plastic molding tray out of that? Like take his idea and actually legitimately make a manufactured piece.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, he made an army style tray. Let's actually make a legitimate like one for Costco to purchase. And who knows? We might be on Shark Tank next week.
God, I will lose my mind if I'm going to Costco one day, you know, and boom, I see one on the cart. I'm like, he did it. By God, he did it.
Yeah, but at the same time, Costco will be like, no, you're gonna like motivate people to just keep copying free samples from everybody, and we're gonna lose. So I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know. It was a great idea, but then I thought about it like, now you're really gonna like, who knows? I don't know. Like, it's really just gonna make the free sample people like really work. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah,
well,
a lot of people come with great ideas, and they want me to make it. We'll see.
You are a man with a plan, man. You're always up to something. I'm just gonna keep asking myself, what won't you be doing? It's probably a small list.
Well, you know, I still, I just like to keep busy, man. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of the like less than 1% that, you know, I'm 41, and honestly, with the financial investments and the things I did while I was in service, I actually didn't have to work after the military. But I can't do that. That would just defeat the purpose of having a drive and a purpose on this earth. So, you know, I gotta work. What's the purpose of being here if I don't have a purpose? So yeah, I'm doing this.
I mean, every day is a gift from God. You know, wake up and live it with a purpose.
It is. Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
But I can't tell you how happy I was to have you on here, brother. I know this podcast is new, but I knew you'd be an awesome guy to come on here and, you know, kind of kick it off.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
You've got a great story. I love your passion. I love your drive, and people need to know that there are things that you can do to help. Like SFL-TAP is not the end all be all. So, I mean, if it's all right with you, when I go ahead and I push this video out, you mind if I plug your link and your contact information? So if anybody has any questions, whether it's for like...
What's crazy too, you know, I'm actually a CSP sponsor as well. I'm actually sponsoring a first sergeant next week.
Again,
teaching her how to be... Yeah, I'm teaching her how to be teaching her how to do e-commerce, start a business from home. So
awesome, man. Well, hey, keep on keeping on, man. I love seeing all your wins. I love seeing the growth, and you know your daily driven purpose to help people. I love it. We need more people like you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
But yeah, man, appreciate you for being on here. Thank you, social media, for keeping us in touch over all the years. And for all of you who out there watching, hey, I got a whole lot more coming. Keep on watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Right.